Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. I'm gonna do that again. That was a really good swing. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. The Peter Like Show. The Peter Like Show. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. Well, happy Friday. This is the first Friday in a long time that I felt like it came and I really, 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 really needed it. I, you know, I left a toxic job earlier this year, and I thought I had everything until everything's just spinning out of control. I mean, not in terms of toxicity, but in terms of the pace. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like, oh my God, thank God it's Friday. I haven't felt that way in a long time just because of how much I love my job, right? I uh, I have a hard time saying no to anybody. In fact, the other day I got in trouble with my boss. My boss was upset that I had refused to drop two students out of the class. I'm teaching calculus, and these two students had other commitments, work. I think one of them's taking care of elderly family members, and had fallen behind. And I kept giving them excuses to catch up on stuff. And my boss was very upset about that. What had happened was she happened to log in and asked me, "What's this about? You have two students who haven't taken the midterm yet. They're 2 weeks behind, and what's going on?" And she was very upset at me. And that's the kind of drama I run into. I sometimes don't put my foot down, and I end up working through holidays, and then I get very disgruntled, and that's what created a lot of toxicity at my last job too. I'm so glad my boss put a kibosh to that before it got to a point of being disgruntled or anything like that. I'm so glad. I sometimes allow people to walk all over me. I had a problem just like that at my last job. I was working at a tutoring center, and I had colleagues who took off for various things, and it's great. The only problem I have is when it doesn't reciprocate, right? So I was working with a lot of middle school, high school students, and this one week was really sparse because all of the students, or most of the students, wanted to go see Taylor Swift. Unfortunately, it wasn't all of them. Had it been all of them, okay, then we'll all take the break together, right? But there were still 5 or 6 appointments or something like that. None of my colleagues wanted to come in because who wants to stay in town just for 3 hours of work, 5 hours of work? Even if you do stay in town, the commute will kill you, right? And so I ended up taking those hours, and I almost didn't want when the check came for my work there. I almost didn't want to cash it. It was insulting because I still have to stay in the Phoenix area. It's not like yes, it might have been fewer hours, but it's not like I could just teleport to I don't know, Poland when I'm not working those 2 or 3 or 4 hours or whatever it was, right? And so I still have to stay in the Phoenix area. Now the problem is that I can't really be upset for anybody involved, right? The students who actually went away to go see Taylor Swift, I feel happy for them. I'm glad the students are enjoying themselves, right? The students who actually stayed behind to study, I can't feel bad for them either, right? They got to study, right? And so it's great. In an ideal world, I still would have done that. The difference is that other people would have helped me when there was something else that I liked, right? The problem is that my interests are very different than a lot of other people, right? And so I ran into a lot of toxicity like that. In an ideal world, here at GCU and at Phoenix College, in an ideal world, yes, I would work over the holidays to help these students catch up when they need to tend to their families, right? But something else would help me to when I wanted to go to compete in the computer Olympiad, go stargazing and all that. Unfortunately, it never goes that way. So Nick says, have you found any decent looking Airbnbs? Not really. Weather is nice here. I actually thought about not booking something just yet because I might want to go away during the holidays anyway. So I would hate to just book something and leave it empty, right? So I haven't really decided. Depending on when I have to check out, the weather's nice. I go into my car, no big. I have a storage unit now anyway because of my art projects. So not the end of the world to not have a place for a couple weeks. Usually that allows me to network with other people anyway. I'm feeling optimistic about next month. And the reason for that is I'm working on an AI for the game of Gizmos that I named after radium. Next month marks 125th year since Mary Curie discovered radium-226. And so I think Gizmos is an appropriate game to name after that. And I have a feeling that this is going to be the one game that finally breaks me out of my because right now hardly anybody knows about my game. I hide out and write it at home. I think this one is going to finally propel me out of my home and network with people, and then I'm going to do something with it. And when I do finally make it big, I'm going to corner the market in bismuth, obviously, and maybe some of the elements that Mary Curie discovered as well, polonium and radium, right? I recently discovered that household dust, just from your vacuum bag, is slightly radioactive, and I have an idea for how to isolate the radioactive elements in the bag, and I want to do some experimentation on that. I can't really do it at the Airbnb I'm living in. It involves a few dangerous chemicals. Don't really have the space to do that there for the setup. But the next time I get a suitable home, I want to do some experimentation on that. Here's what I'm planning to do. So the household dust contains radon decay daughters, right? Because when radon decays, it makes positively charged polonium and a few other isotopes of lead, and it sticks to the dust. Now, household dust is mostly organic material, right? Your clothing fibers, your dead skin cells, pet dander, soil, right? Household dust is mostly made of that, along with a few other things. And I'm thinking to get an acid that is capable of completely oxidizing the organic material, right? What immediately comes to mind is piranha solution, a mixture of sulfuric acid and hydrogen peroxide. And just throw household dust, and that will chew up all the organic material, maybe gather a few tons of household dust. I want to befriend the janitors here at GCU because they go through a lot of dust. If I can get them to donate their dust for the purposes of science, right? And I can throw it into my piranha solution, and then that will make a solution. The organic material will burn up, and you'll just be left with a solution of polonium, probably polonium sulfate or something like that. And I'm thinking of using electrochemistry to then deposit the polonium onto some other metal surface. I can't wait to give that a try. I don't have the space to do that at the moment. These are pretty dangerous chemicals to be working around. Not to mention, household dust can have all sorts of dangerous stuff in it. I definitely want to get some PPE and a fume hood and stuff like that. Not to mention that the radioactivity can really start to add up if you start to dissolve tons and tons of dust into solution, right? But I hope to give that a try. I have a feeling that one of these ventures is going to be the big one, whether it be the AI for the games or the polonium mining. The open air polonium mining is what I like to think of it as. So I'm really optimistic. We only got a little over a month left to this year. I think I'm going to be a billionaire this year. I'm really optimistic. This is the Peter Like Show. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum, 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 bum.